Welcome to the Boxing Life Podcast. I'm Coach Anthony.
What's his full name? What's Coach Anthony's? Anthony's first name was Anthony's last name.
It's Anthony Rodriguez.
Every single round, he guided him to victory tonight.
And I'm Eddie Chambers, better known as Fast Eddie Chambers. And I fought at the highest level of the sport, been in there with legends, basically in boxing for about 30 years. And I think me and Coach Ann have a unique perspective, one from a fighter standpoint, and then also from a coaching standpoint. And I think we can reach the youth and just boxing people in general in a unique way that I think is going to be beneficial. So this podcast is definitely good for boxing.
It's going to be beneficial for all you guys out there. You know, listening to me as a guy who's coached thousands of people, not only in person, but online. I mean, you know, through the online platform, we've had over 4,000 people come through my online platform, right? I got a private community. Okay, it's a private Facebook group where if you go ahead and you grab anything off our website, you can go ahead and get enrolled to the private community. I've done online mentorships with people all over the world where people have asked me to review their sparring or ask me for a personalized game plan on how they should approach their training. You know what I mean? Me and Eddie will give them insights on stuff like that. So, I mean, I've coached every kind of person, Eddie. It's crazy. Like when I think about it, I've worked with guys at Eddie's level, and I've worked with people who don't even know how to step left or right. Like it's crazy. So it's like, you know, I as a coach, man, I've seen so much. But Eddie, tell me a little bit more about like when you want to have a good year in your boxing. Like what's some of the key points? I'll give you some notes that I have here. Yeah. But what are some of the key points that you think somebody needs to have going into, you know, just having a plan? You know what I mean? Because I think that it's always good to have a plan.
Well, one first thing is obviously, like you said, you got some things there. You got to write it down. You know, thoughts and all of that become actions. But if you write it down, you read it, and you hold yourself accountable. It's there. So now you got to see it. And once you do that, that's the start.
I like that. So this is what I want you guys to do. If you guys are watching this, obviously you're watching this because you want to be better, right? You want to get improved. Go ahead and get your notes on your phone like me, or go ahead and get a pen and a paper if you're old school like Eddie. You know what I'm saying? Definitely. And you want to write it down. But I think that everything starts with your mind. So the first thing I want you guys to do moving into this 2025 is we got to go into it with a good mindset. You know what I'm saying? We have to have set clear goals. Like, okay, what are we trying to accomplish this year? Are you trying to have your first amateur fight? Are you trying to get back into boxing? Maybe you never fought. Maybe you fought before, but you haven't fought in some time. Are you trying to drop some weight so you can finally get into the realm of competition? Or are you just trying to get fit and maybe you don't want to compete, right? But you choose boxing. I mean, this is a boxing channel. I mean, this can apply to any freaking sport or any kind of fitness. Yeah. But do you want to, you know, maybe drop 20 pounds, or do you want to gain a couple of pounds of muscle? I mean, I don't know what your goals, your personal goals are, right? We all got different goals. We're all in different parts of our life. But you have to have some set goals, and you have to know exactly what you're trying to do. So let's just hypothetically say you want to have your first fight, right? We're going to use that as the example here. You feel me? Okay. I fought before. Eddie obviously fought before, right? When you were getting ready for your first fight, Eddie, do you remember, what that process was like? Because I could tell you mine. I remember my process, but I want you to share yours from a guy who's obviously a proven fighter. What was your first process for your first amateur fight? Not pro, amateur. And maybe if you're a pro, maybe share one for your pro as well.
Okay, well, for my first amateur fight, my dad basically had to force me to go to the gym. I didn't even really want to go. First day, I walked in the gym, I sparred, and the kid looked like Riddick Bowe, so we used to call him Riddick Bowe. They used to call him Bowe, and I did real well, like to the point of like that kid didn't want to come back to the gym after a couple of weeks, and it was surprising to me because I wasn't like that fighting type. But once I started and I got a little confidence from that, my dad seen it, and my dad was like, "Yeah, you gonna keep him in," because he always wanted me to fight. So we started the running. Highland Park, Pittsburgh, PA, and Highland Park, running around the reservoir, which was like I think a mile and a quarter or something like that around, and we had to sprint this hill at the end. I hated it, but I had to do it. So I would do that almost every day. When in the summertime it was almost every day, but then obviously when school started I couldn't do it. So during the week, so we would do it more so on weekends, and I would do that, and then no matter what, we go into the gym. every day without fail. Going to the gym, and I remember doing it every day. And then I remember the sparring days. The sparring days was a little bit nerve-wracking because even though, I did well the first day, after a while you start seeing different styles and, competition becomes a thing. And now you're looking at these guys who might be lighter than you, but they throw faster. And they, this dude's a little slicker, got more experience. And then this other guy's a little bigger and stronger, a little more raw, but he's strong. And it's like, and my dad put me in there with anything. I didn't say anybody, I said anything. If you was a Godzilla, he would have put me in there with him. So it was like I had to deal with those types of things. And then coming into the first fight, I remember going into the arena and I was 14. I think I had just turned 14. And I remember being so nervous that if I had my license, I would have got in the car and drove off, bro, and would have just left and never showed up. Not saying never come back, but eventually I'd have saw my dad again and he would have probably beat the daylights out of me. But but I was so nervous. And the only thing that kind of kept me around was worrying about, what my dad would say if I tried to run or do anything else. So I definitely wasn't going nowhere. But I would see my friends, different guys from the gym going and having their fights, and a few of them won. And I saw how happy they felt, and they came down with a sweat and all excited. And I'm like, there was these two twins that was always real hard to spar with because they throw so many punches. And I remember they came back, and both of them won. They both stopped their guys, and I'm like, man, I'm basically about to go to the bathroom on myself, and I'm watching them all happy, and then my fight was next. And I'm like, oh, my God. And I remember the ring walk and walking up, and I remember I go to the steps, and I remember my dad pulled me aside, and it's the first time, and shoot, maybe the last time he said this to me. He said, I love you. And I was like, what? I was kind of shocked. I was taking he ain't never said that to me like that before. And that made me even more nervous for a second because I'm like, maybe I'm about to die or something. So I heard that, and he's like, yeah, you go in there, you do what you got to do, you this and that, and he gave me the game plan, but I don't want you to do nothing in that first round but throw the jab. And I'm like, you want me to go in? This guy going to try to come out and hurt me? And I remember he's a little heavy-set kid, both of us little chubby kids. First fight, first round, all I did was throw the jab. Man, I clocked this kid with about 15, 20 jabs straight. And I'm like, yo, it's working. Hey. And then I remember toward the end of the round, not toward the end of the round, it was probably more toward the middle, I started throwing other shots. And that wasn't the plan. And my dad would yell from the corner, and I would get back to what I was supposed to do. And I remember as soon as I went back to the corner after the round, he laid into me a little bit about throwing the right hand. And he said, now, once you go out there and you take him apart, you take him out, get him out of there. Went out there, first thing I threw was a 1, 2, and a 3. He jumped in, stepped in, took it over. And that feeling was incredible. I don't think I've ever felt, even in my pro career, something that was that rewarding necessarily. You know what I mean? Only thing I could think is, if I had a kid and it was, for his firstborn. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh,
that's
yeah,
probably the only
for
thing.
sure.
But it was incredible. It was an incredible feeling. And then obviously, over time, you just get a little more used to it, and especially the winning part. Hopefully, if you win enough. But yeah, it was just an incredible thing.
Yeah, man. There's nothing like having your first boxing match, man. For me, it was a little different. It was kind of crazy because, so what happened with me was, this is how I always knew deep in my heart I would coach. Yeah. Because I would go to the boxing gym, learn something, and then come back to my neighborhood and start teaching it to all my friends as if I knew what the hell I was doing. Right? Like, I literally
But you probably did.
I learned what I learned, and it didn't take me more than learning it one time to come back like, yo, guys, this is how you do this. Right? So there was a
He was Coach Ant.
Yeah, I was Coach Ant before Coach Ant. So there was a friend of mine by the name of Darnley Decimus. Shout out to him, and I ain't spoke to him in probably like 20-something years, right? But he was a friend of mine. This was when I lived in Florida, because I stepped into a boxing gym in New York City. I grew up in New York, but we ended up moving to Florida when I was around 16 years old. And that's when I really took boxing serious, because I didn't have no friends. So it was like, now I can focus on this boxing thing, because I dibbled and dabbled in New York, but I never really trained. And then in Florida, it was like, all right, you don't know nobody. We're going to go to a boxing gym. Yeah. So I would go to the boxing gym, train, and come back, hang out with my boys. But the problem was, at that time in my life, I was smoking, I was drinking, I was doing all the wrong things. And So I freaking smoke, drink, and train my boys in the neighborhood, like train them, right? So this is where it all changed for me. One day I was training in the police athletic league, and one day I told my boy about it. He started going. I actually had stopped training for a while. I was working, doing different stuff, and he had called me up and said, I'm having my first fight. And I was like, you having your first fight? Hold up. And I wasn't fighting, right? So I wasn't even training, right? And I'm like, you ain't gonna fight before me. Like, like I trained you. Like I taught you everything you know, right? But then he just went to that gym and he started really like pushing and pushing and pushing. I promise you, I stopped smoking that day. I stopped drinking that day. Everything. It was just a mindset shift that day. It was like, I'm not letting this guy who I taught how to throw a jab and a cross go out there and get this glory before me when this is something that I really enjoy. This is something that I like, something that I introduced him to.
Facts.
So,
that's nice.
so this was like what pushed me to compete. I mean, I already have other stories that I didn't talk about that got me into boxing, but this is what pushed me to actually push the envelope and compete. So it all stopped that day. I went to the gym. I went to the coaches. I said, I want to fight the same day as him. So it was like, okay, fine. Well, you got to show up every day and you got to do whatever we tell you. They had the game plan. I just let them lead the way. They had us running. They had us sparring. They had us conditioning. They had us doing everything that a boxer does. Yeah. And me and him had our first fight the same day.
Yo,
which is a cool, it was a cool story. But if it wasn't for me teaching him and then him pushing me,
that's a good point.
that it might not have happened. So another thing that might help you guys, a little extra thing for you going into this new year, if you have a goal, get into some kind of this is why like the Facebook community that I have is so dope, right? Because everybody has similar goals and people are pushing each other. You got people talking amongst each other and stuff like that. Find yourself an accountability partner. If you don't want to maybe be part of a private community like what we have to offer, maybe go find yourself an accountability partner, somebody who has similar goals to you, and let them know what your goals are. I have accountability partners to this day that I contact. Eddie's an accountability partner. We'll talk to each other. Yo, what's going on? How's your diet? How you eating? Stuff like that, right? We'll push each other because when you have, because it really takes a village, like they say. Like it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village for you to stay on track, to stay on course, because it gets real lonely when you're trying to do all this alone. Listen, I have a YouTube channel, I have a business, right? Like, but I can't do this alone. I got to bring people with me. And why not bring people with me that are on the same page as me, people who have similar goals that I have, and people who want to grow and get better. You know what I mean? So I think it starts with mindset, and then we could add in some sort of an accountability, unless you had like a father like yours who didn't give you a chance, you know what I'm saying?
I did not need an accountability partner when it came to him, man. Oh my goodness, he was such a, like, he was almost like a drill sergeant. You know, the closest thing I had to that later on was with Peter Fury. He was the closest thing to that, and I mean, he was really good. He was. But
look
really
at
tough.
the success, though. Both for you. Your father had great success with you, and Tyson Fury, obviously, great
when
success.
he was with Peter. Yeah, 100%.
Sometimes you can't give. Sometimes you can't give yourself a plan B.
Right.
And, you know, they say that a lot about success. You know, a lot of the times we try to be easy on ourselves. Like, yeah, let's just, you know, do the best we can. Or if this doesn't work out, we can always do this, right? Like, it's kind of like if you started, like if I open this gym and I say, well, if it doesn't work out, I'll go get a job. Like, you're already ready to lose. Yeah. Like, I have no other plan B. This facility is going to win, like, period. I got Fast Eddie Chambers. I'll be here every single day if I have to make sure this wins, right?
This place is plan A, B, and C.
Exactly. You can't really give yourself too many leeway. So you have to have, you need to have your goals, set your clear goals. So that's the first tip, right? So if you're taking notes, set your clear goals. That starts with your mindset, right? Everything starts here, right? So you got your mindset. You know what you want. You set your goals. You know who are the key players in your life that are going to help keep you accountable. Not everybody has this luxury, but you have resources, channels like this, communities like the ones that we offer. If you can't find them in your inner circle, we can help you. You know what I'm saying? But this is what you need. You need accountability. Somebody they might not even need to say much other than, yo, bro, did you train today? Yeah. You You know what I'm saying? Or you might be in the community and see somebody post their workout video and you're like, oh, hell no, I need to go to the gym.
mine.
I do that all the time. So there's people that I follow on Instagram that I'm like, oh no, he got his work in today? What the hell?
too, yeah.
I'm still in bed. Let me get the hell up. You know what I'm saying? I got to go to the gym. You know what I mean? Because I'm a competitive person. And even though it's always you versus you, sometimes you need to see somebody else bettering themselves for you to say, man, I got to get better. I'm slacking over here. You know what I'm saying? So that's what we're going to start, right? I think the next thing is you need to have a game plan. You need to have a structured game plan, right? So again, if you know that you want to be better at boxing, if you know that you want to fight by a certain day, or if you know you want to lose a certain amount of weight, right? You need to give yourself some kind of like a game plan. Like, okay, well, if I'm gonna lose weight, I got to be in a caloric deficit, right? So it's always good to learn, and we could have this discussion on another day about nutrition. But you know, I need to eat a certain amount of calories a day. I need to hit a certain number of protein a day. All right, I need to know where I'm at. I need to know what the training regimen is gonna be, right? And for everybody, that's gonna look different. Like example, Eddie. You like to practice being a vegan, right?
Yeah, in most cases.
For the most part, you're a vegan,
for the most
right?
part,
Like
yeah.
I'm not, right? So we both have a similar goal. However, we're gonna approach it differently.
Slightly different, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, but you need to know what that is. So if you don't know what that is, you need to find people who know that. You know what I mean? We can help you with nutrition. You know what I mean? You can. There's plenty of ways you can find out. There's literally a whole. The problem with nutrition, though, everybody got an opinion.
Oh, of course.
And if you don't know anything about nutrition, I think that can get very confusing, man. But for the most part, let's just say it like this. For nutrition, I think that a lot of people, like for instance, I had a girl actually ask me this today. She said, hey, I want to get in better shape. What should I eat? And I'm like, you know, a lot of the times it's not what you should eat, it's what you shouldn't eat.
Facts.
And a lot of the times you know what that is.
Yeah.
Right? Like let's just
simple.
say you know, we went to, you know, eat, let's say a normal day of eating. You wake up and you have eggs, bacon, but then you have a bunch of pancakes and a bunch of syrup. I think it's pretty common sense that the pancakes with the extra syrup should probably get eliminated, right? Like even though the bacon might be a big issue for some of you guys, but we all know that all the sugar and all the stuff comes with that, right? You go get a burger with fries. Yes, some people may have an issue with a burger,
Right.
But maybe you want to eliminate the fries because at least you know like the burger is actually like real food, even though it might not be your choice, right? Like you're getting ground beef, you're eating a little bit of bread, okay, but we're gonna eliminate the fries, the French fries, unless they were made, you know, baked in the oven or something like that. You feel what I'm saying? You had a point you wanted to...
No, it was like, when you think about like the pancakes and stuff like that, you want to talk about, if you want to have those kind of things, now you got to start making different decisions on the ingredients. That's another key that a lot of people don't talk about or think about either. Oh man, I want pancakes. But you want pancakes that taste, you know, or that are, you know, pancakes, and they're normally, you know, with the sugar and all that. No. Make a better choice on the ingredients. Try to find something that may not be, maybe it's dairy-free. Maybe it isn't dairy-free, but it's a little healthier. Maybe it's gluten-free. Maybe there's different options. There's a lot of different options you can have where the calories aren't as bad, or at least the ingredients aren't as bad. So you're not getting what, you know, you would say is a horrible part, you know, to add to a meal. You know what I'm saying? Like you say, the sausage, or the eggs, the bacon, and then the pancakes is like the worst thing on the plate. You can make the pancakes actually a decent option.
Yeah.
If you do it right.
There's definitely different ways to prepare it. And that's what I mean. This can get to a deep rabbit hole, right? Because you have so many different approaches. But yes, definitely. And you also have to know what your goals are, right? Like most people, when they think about nutrition, they're thinking about losing weight or gaining weight. But most people are trying to lose weight. Most people are trying to get the weight off. And not everybody who loses weight does it the healthiest way, right? And then you have some people who, you know, maybe they are eating very healthy, but they're not losing any weight because maybe they're eating too much healthy food. Right, so then they somehow stay in that caloric surplus, even though they're like, I'm eating healthy, why ain't I losing weight? Well, you need to kind of know how much you're eating of what you're eating.
Thanks.
So these are all things that I think is a whole nother topic. But the whole point is you need to have a game plan, right? So the game plan, this is just kind of like an overview of everything, right? You need to have your nutrition, and you need to have your training, and whatever other goals that you have to have a game plan, right? You have to schedule stuff. You have to really dive into this. You can't just freestyle. You can't just go into this saying, I'm going to try to eat healthier, or I'm just going to kind of go to the gym. Maybe that's a good starting point, like if you're sitting on the couch right now. Like if you're just a person who's just sitting on the couch and you don't do anything healthy for yourself, you know what? Yeah, just get up. Yeah. I'm okay with that. Just get up, do something. But if you're somebody with a little bit more experience, somebody who kind of understands the process, we kind of got to dial stuff in now, right? You got to do your research on nutrition. You have to do your research on training, and you have to actually do this, man. Like, you can't just, like, kind of do this. You know what I mean? If you want to have this year to be the best year, you have to really just make a decision.
Yeah. Yeah, you and be diligent about it. You know what I mean? Look at what you have, what you guys have already written down, and stay on task. Don't waver. A lot of times, I mean, it's okay to have a cheat day, but don't make it a cheat week. You know what I mean? Don't make it a cheat month. You know what I'm saying? Stick to the game plan, like we said earlier, and don't get off it.
I'm gonna be honest. I could give you guys something real easy, something that you guys can remember. I had somebody who, let's just say, the two things that you should look at the most if you're trying to lose or gain weight is calories and protein. Those are the two most important. So, like, if let's just say you're trying to lose weight, you have to know your calories, right? So I'm just going to give you an example. Like, they say 10 times your body weight. So let's just say you're 200 pounds and you're trying to lose weight. Well, you times that by 10, that's 2,000 calories, right? So you're eating 2,000 calories a day. They say that you should eat 1 pound a gram per body weight of protein, right? So you can eat 200 grams of protein, maybe even less. Some people say you should hit the protein goals at the weight you want to be. So if you're 200 and you want to weigh 180, maybe you hit 180 grams of protein. And the fats and the carbs just fall into place naturally because one's an energy source and the other one is a backup energy source, which is your fats, right? Carbohydrates is your energy source and fats is your energy source as well. Plus it works with some of your hormones and stuff like that. Those two can kind of be balanced out. Maybe one day you eat a little higher fat, maybe one day you eat a little higher carbs. But if you always hit 2,000 calories and you always hit that 180 to 200 grams of protein threshold, you're somewhat in a good place if you're a 200-pound guy trying to lose a little bit of weight, granted that you're training. You're actually working out, doing your boxing. Right now, you can get your protein many different ways. If you're a vegan, you can find your vegan sources. If you're just a guy who eats whatever you like to eat, chicken, whatever, you could find stuff. Like if you eat red meat or you eat beef paws, you can have 93.7, right, which is a little leaner cut, you know what I mean, than an 80-20. You see what I'm saying? Because that's a little higher in fat. You know what I mean? Yeah. See, I'm starting to get into a whole nutrition spill, but like it's 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, it's 4 calories per gram of protein, and it's 9 calories per gram of fat. So fat is double the calories. So you have to keep in mind, like a lot of people, they'll do stuff like they'll take the bread off of a cheeseburger, right? Yeah. But the cheese might actually have more calories than the bread because it's 4 calories per gram of carbohydrate, 9 calories per gram of fat. So if you put like 3-4 slices of cheese,
you got way more.
You got way more calories than had you just ate the burger with the bread. Now, maybe you're on a low carbohydrate diet. If you're on a low carbohydrate diet, yeah, that can work, but you got to understand you're going to get less volume. So, you have to be okay with eating less volume because you're eating higher fatty foods, which means you're not going to get to eat as much. That's why a lot of bodybuilders and stuff, they'll have like chicken breast with a cup of white rice and a big plate of vegetables. That's a stacked plate. An 8-ounce chicken breast with a cup of white rice and vegetables, that's a big plate. Now, it might not taste as good. That's why you got to like put seasonings on it or hot sauce or something to make it taste better. But you're going to get a lot more food. So it's like, I tell people, like, let's just make believe you're on a 2,000 calorie diet and just think of it as money. You got $2,000 you can spend every day. How do you want to spend it? You could spend it all in one spot, like a pizzeria, right? And you just eat some pizza and wings, and now you actually owe money. Now you're in debt because you just ate 2,500 calories because you just ate, and you're still hungry by the end of the night if you ate that at 1 p.m. Or you can eat chicken breast, fish, some good sources of carbohydrates like sweet potatoes or rice or whatever. Some people don't want to eat rice, but it's really not the end of the world. I mean, you got people all over the world who eat rice who are very thin. So there's different ways to approach it. So this is just me spitting off the top of my head. I mean, different ideas, but you have to know these things. So that's what I mean. Once you are educated, then you can make a game plan and say, okay, well, this is how I'm going to eat for the week. This is how I'm going to eat for the week. This is how I'm going to train for the week. I want to box 5 days a week. Okay, great. All right, excellent. That's a great starting point. And once you've been boxing for 5 days a week, you may want to include a little bit of weight training in there, or you may want to include a little bit of running in there. You can do that. It all depends on what level you're at.
That's a fact. That's a fact. For me, like a day, there's another thing that we might want to add to it. I mean, it's up to you. It's something that I do. I know you do it sometimes too. Fasting is another thing that you can do to add a little bit of help with, because like sometimes you get to a situation where it's like you want to eat a lot at one time, and what you can do is you can do your workouts early, stay busy early. You don't eat anything until about 4 or 5 or close to dinner time, and you done fasted all day. You can eat all your calories at once.
Right.
It's still, and as long as you're eating the right stuff, it'll still be beneficial. And then fasting too helps clean your body. And you'll notice that once you eat your first meal, that you'll feel like, hey, okay, now my body needs to get rid of what the previous meal was. Because I think what they say is you're living off your last meal, I think, from the day before when, you're walking around every day. So, once you start to eat that next meal, then you'll feel the need to get rid of the other. You know what I'm saying? So I think fasting is a good option too. For some people, it makes it a little easier for them not to overeat.
Yeah, like if you're a busy person or if you're somebody who wakes up early. Because I've noticed, like, when the days that I wake up earlier, if I eat early, then by the end of the day, I usually overeat. So sometimes it's good for me to push that first meal back a little bit, so therefore I'm not overeating. But for sometimes it could work against you. You can get so hungry that you just freaking binge on everything. So this goes back to the game plan. If you fast, but you got meal prepped, AKA cooked already, and you put that into some Tupperwares, and maybe you even meal prepped and thought ahead of a healthy snack once you get that sweet tooth or something like some fruits or a protein bar or something like that. When you do break your fast when you're really hungry and you got the food accessible, which is healthier options, like the chicken breast with the rice or whatever, you can eat 2 Tupperwares back to back and then eat a handful of freaking fruits and maybe even a protein bar, and you might still be at like 1,300 calories in one sitting. You're like, man, I feel like I just had a feast. But if you don't have the meals prepared, you're going to go stop at the quickest freaking convenience place to eat, which could be a fast food spot, a pizzeria, any place, you know what I mean? And you might just completely destroy your plan, which was to push off your meal and eat something healthy, and you know what I mean? And so this is what I mean, man. Game planning is the key. And a lot of people don't like planning. A lot of people feel constricted when they plan. But truthfully, they actually had a study where they said that when you plan, you actually have more freedom than when you don't plan. That's the crazy part, right? Because you're not scrambling. You're actually like, I know what needs to get done, and this is what's going to get done. So that's enough about the nutrition part. I know we kind of gave you some nuggets there that you guys could run with. I know you guys are going to want to get more in depth with that. It's something that, we're going to definitely talk about in the future. And we'll definitely open up a way to help some of you guys out there who are interested in maybe learning more about nutrition. I mean, obviously, it's a very important part of the new year. I think, arguably, it's probably up there right next to the training and the mindset. Like, the nutrition, it all starts with how you eat, honestly.
Well, I mean, depends upon what you're trying to do, but 100%, nutrition is what helps you lose weight, so if you're
gain weight again.
Or gain,
if you're trying to gain muscle, you have to know how to hit a certain number of protein goal.
Yes.
And you have to work out a certain way, which means you have to have the right plan. This all goes back to the plan, right? Like, if you come to the boxing gym and you're burning 1,000 calories a day and you're eating a salmon and a fish or something, and some chicken, you're only consuming 1,400 calories a day, and you're wondering why you're not gaining no muscle. Well,
You're in a deficit.
deficit, dog. Like, you're not going to. Like, we need to, lift some weights maybe. We need to eat a little bit more food, So it's kind of like when you were in the UK and they were forcing you to eat all those meals. It was like they were putting
5,000
you in a
6,000
surplus
calories a day
because
at
they
least.
wanted you to fight in the heavyweight division and be strong.
And
so their goal was muscle.
And this is the crazy thing. Sometimes looking at the scale can be a little bit of a problem at times. If you're looking, you want to lose weight. That's cool if you want to lose weight. I understand you want to lose weight. But sometimes looking at the scale can be a bit of a problem because what if you're building muscle at the same time? You might lose inches and look lighter but be the same weight. That happened to me.
It's called body recomposition.
Right, because my body, when I went out there, like I had a little puddle. You know what I'm saying? I was a little chubby. But I had skinny arms. I weighed 195 pounds. Man, I weighed maybe a month and a half after I weighed about 220, almost 220 pounds and looked lighter. Almost had the V.
Well, we'll have the picture up there.
Yeah, so it's like, it was like kind of, I was surprised. I didn't know that could happen, especially me. I've never been a body beautiful in boxing. I was always the body ugly. So I was like, they look at my body, they say, is he really a fighter or is he really an athlete? Kind of like what they look at Tyson Fury.
Yeah, you weren't as bad as Tyson.
No, it wasn't that. No, but it's all good. But but at the same time, they still looked at me, am I an athlete or am I a couch potato? But the reality of it is I just probably made bad choices in diet. Yeah. Which there was no question.
Look, he hasn't fought in years, or he actually fought last year.
I did.
He fought last year.
I did.
All right, he kept it under the wraps, but if you go on BoxRec, you'll see he fought last year. That was supposed to be
just don't watch
secret.
the fight, though.
All right, he won. But look how lean he is now.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is a guy. And even me, man, some of my old YouTube, I was getting real fat earlier this year.
So was I a little while ago.
I've dropped some. I'm not at my goal. So believe me, a lot of this advice that I'm giving you guys, I'm following myself because I'm trying to get to another level this year. But I definitely lost, and I was up to like 235. I stepped on the scale today, 208. So I've lost weight this year.
Almost 20 pounds.
Yeah, you know what I mean? But I think I need to get to like 180 to really look like how I want to look, which is okay. Gives you something to strive for. So it doesn't matter where you're starting at. What matters is that you take the steps in that direction. And that leads into the next point, which is don't look for motivation, look for discipline. Yeah. Because a lot of times we feel motivated, and that's a very short-lived drug, man. Like motivation, you can get motivated right now watching this podcast. If you don't have no discipline, I promise you can watch this podcast, be super motivated, and as soon as the podcast is over, you go right in the kitchen and you just get yourself a snack. I've done it before. I'll listen to some of my favorite motivational freaking people. I'll watch a whole fitness thing and be like, man, that's really good. I really got to start counting my macros. And then I'll go, then I'll be like, I'll start tomorrow. And it'll be like Wednesday, right? So I'll be like, I'll start tomorrow. Then, you know what? I'll just start Monday.
Yep.
You feel me? Like it's already Thursday. Friday's coming tomorrow. We got Saturday. Like, what's the point? Right? And then another year goes by. And it's crazy because we set these big goals that are sometimes good to set big goals, but it could be bad, right? Because, for instance, I told you, I was 230 pounds to 235 earlier this year, like in April, right? So we're in the first of the year, basically. And I'm 208, which I lost, 22 pounds? I actually got down to 202. I put on a couple of pounds again because I kind of just fell off my stuff a little bit. However, I was in COVID. When COVID first hit, I got up to about 230, right? And I told myself, this is easy. I'll knock this 30 pounds off in 2-3 months, man. I've done it before, which is true. I've done it before. I have some before and afters of when I gained weight, lost weight, gained weight, lost weight throughout my life. I kind of have a thing where I've done that a lot. But had I just lost 1 pound a month from 2020 to now, I would have been at my goal. Like that's like 52 pounds or something like that, right? Like
you'd have been
or way more than that, honestly. 1 pound a month. That's 12, 24, 36, 48. Yeah, that's like freaking 50 something pounds. Like 50 something pounds I would have lost had I lost 1 pound a month from 2020 till today. Right? But in my mind, I'm like, I could lose 30, I could lose 30 pounds, right? So you give these unrealistic expectations that end up crashing on you, and then you don't keep the consistency, right? So discipline is what's going to give you consistency, right? Yes. So I know I kind of went another direction with it, but you need discipline, because discipline was going to make you say, I'm not going to do that. I'm very disciplined in a lot of areas of my life. It's like nutrition's always been the hardest one. Do you have a reason why that is?
Because food tastes good, man. It just really is. Simply put, man, when you eat, and I think the American diet in particular is centered around, enjoyment with food and taste and
It's like
parties.
a social gathering.
It's a social thing. So it's like when you have that kind of connection to food, you're not going to look at it as fuel, and that's really what we're supposed to look at food as fuel. We're supposed to look at food like putting gas in a car, but we don't look at it that way. And it's okay to enjoy food or enjoy your gas up, but it's not like a religion. You don't want to look at it like a religion, like, oh, every 4th of July or every, Memorial Day or every Labor Day, there's always a cookout. It's always the fattiest foods and the craziest things that we eat at those times. And it's like, once you start looking at food that way, it's a slippery slope.
But check it out, though. This is what's crazy about the mentality. This goes back to mindset. Let's just say you ate whatever you wanted on your birthday. Let's say your birthday's in April, like mine. All right, April. You eat whatever you want for your birthday.
March for me?
Then, in the summertime, what do we got in the summertime? Labor Day or whatever you just said? And you go out to a barbecue, 4th of July, Labor Day, 2 days. You eat whatever you want, those 2 days. Then you got, right after that, Halloween. You eat whatever you want for Halloween for those who like to eat candy. And then you eat whatever you want for Thanksgiving, right? So now we're 5 days in, you just ate whatever you wanted. And then you're going to eat again for Christmas. That's only 6 days out of 365 days in a year.
That is crazy when you think
So
about
people
it.
will
That is
blame
hilarious.
6 days on why they're not in shape.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It ain't got shit to do with those holidays. It ain't got shit to do with your birthday. What it has to do with is with your lack of discipline throughout the year.
Yes.
Because you can actually have an enjoyment in all those days, maybe even sprinkle in a couple of extra days if you're fully disciplined the whole other rest of the time of the year.
It's true.
If you're eating like perfect, or not perfect, but close to it, January, February, March, and then April, I enjoy a birthday, and then May, June, July, I enjoy a Labor Day and a 4th of July, and then Halloween, I have a handful of candy corn, and then Thanksgiving, I eat a little extra macaroni and cheese with my turkey. You're not going to gain 40, 50 pounds of fat if you've been disciplined most of the year. So I think that discipline, people think of discipline as a way to be so rigid to where they're not enjoying life. I think discipline gives you the room to enjoy life, because if you're fully disciplined throughout the year, those days you ain't got to think about them, because you're like, dude, that's nothing. I can eat like this today, and then I can go right back on my course tomorrow. Or you might not even have the urges to eat that terrible, because you've been so locked in that you're like, you know what's crazy? I'm not even craving that cake right now. You know what's crazy? I'm not even craving that extra macaroni and cheese. It just doesn't do nothing for me. And if it doesn't do nothing for you, why are you forcing yourself to eat it?
That's right. I can attest to that.
Like me, like for instance, alcohol. I slowed down on drinking alcohol over the last couple of years. I've had 2 drinks in 2024, which is crazy, because I would have drinks like every couple of weekends. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not an alcoholic, but I've always been pretty controlled with how much I consume. But literally 2 times, I haven't cared for it, right? Because at this point in my life, it's just, I'm disciplined enough to not drink. Like, there was a time where I was younger where it was like, yo, we gonna party, we gonna have a good time, we gonna go to the club, we gonna pop a bottle, whatever. Like, I used to be into that. I'm not into that right now, right? So it's easy for me to discipline myself there. It's easy for me to discipline myself with my finances and say, I'm not gonna spend that because I have other things that are more important. I have an overhead for a gym, I got a family, right? I can discipline myself to not spend money. It's those same principles that you need when you're trying to get in shape. So that's just the nutrition side. You also got to think about the training side, which I think that we're kind of lacking here. We're talking so much about eating, but how about those days that you, yeah, it is. But how about those days that you want to skip the gym? How about those days that you don't want to train? You see what I'm saying? Like, you need discipline for that too.
100%.
You need discipline to rest. If you have the problem with me, I feel like guilty if I don't work out, but then I'll get like a slight injury, because it's like your body's been trying to ask you to rest, and you don't listen. So it's good to schedule in those rest days. So you need discipline for all that.
Every part of your life, you need disciplines, especially when it comes to working out. You know what I mean? The stick to itiveness, to be there every day that you're supposed to be there, but also, like he said, to get the rest. You have to rest. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I've had fights. I've had injury from, not from the training for fights. Like, you can't overdo it. It's a real problem. Just like overeating, anything else, you don't want to do that. But the training in particular can really put you in a bad way. You need to rest. Rest is just as important as the work.
Yeah, rest is just as important for the work as the work, man. So you definitely need that, man. So you got to have your mindset right, right? You have to have a plan, right? You have to have discipline. You know what I mean? You definitely need to focus on your nutrition and your training. You also need to focus on the education side of it, because if you don't know how to do this stuff, if you don't know how to train properly, if you don't know how to eat properly, you're still kind of left in that.
That's it.
What do I do, Coach Ant? What do I do? Like, you're giving me all this information on what I need to do, but I don't even know how to get started, right? So this is where you have to educate yourself. That's why, like, if you're in the New Jersey area, right, coming to our facility, right, CA Boxing Gym, might be a good investment this year for you. I know you're tight on money. I don't want to spend, man. I don't know. But guess what, man? Your best investment might be to join a facility with some trainers that know what the hell they're talking about, who's going to help you achieve your goals. Maybe you live in a different country, not to cut you off. Maybe you live in a different country, and you're like, I want to start working on my fundamentals, but all the coaches here suck. Or you live in a different state. I've been promoting CoachAnthonyBoxing.com for like a decade now. With me and Fast Eddie have been giving you guys so much game on how you guys can get started for like basically a fraction of what it would cost had you trained with us in person. If you knew what my hourly rates were, you'd be like, I'll buy the whole master bundle before, because like, I'm not cheap, and neither is Eddie, right? So we're investing in yourself for the right education is very freaking important, man. You can't just try to figure all this stuff out on your own, because guess what? Time is the most valuable commodity that you have. And every day that you try to figure it out on your own, you're just wasting time. You see what I'm saying? Like, you're just wasting time. Like, for instance, we got a podcast going, right? I brought in a guy. I'm paying him because I don't want to figure this shit out. I don't want to figure out the audio and all that type. Like, I don't got time for that. What I need to do is get this stuff out so my people can get my message. Now, had I tried to figure this out on my own, you guys might have been waiting another 90 days before I dropped this episode, because I'd have been on YouTube. How do I do this? How do I do that, right? We're just going to get right to it. We're going to invest into what we know is important, whether that be hiring a coach, whether that be joining a gym, whether that be investing in on courses, whether that be investing into a nutritional coach, somebody who's going to help you get to your step. Like, no more of this penny pinching and not spending money and searching for free information on the internet, guys. That shit is so played out. Like, you know what I mean? Like guys, come on, man. You spend money on other stuff. You spend money on stuff that is nonsense, but you refuse to invest into yourself. And you're the most important person in your life. I saw a post today with my boy, right? And he's a super credible guy. He's into real estate. Shout out to him. You know what I mean? My man Al. And he had tried to motivate his followers on his story. So he said, yo, people, I want to motivate my people out there. He was like, everybody, I want you to invest 1 hour a day into yourself. And then when you do, I want you to tag me. So what I want you to do is either you go to the gym for an hour, tag me. If you're reading a book, tag me. As long as you're investing 1 hour into yourself a day, I want you to tag. That's how he's motivating his people. I shot him a DM and I said, I'm investing 24 hours a day, 7 days a week to myself. 1 hour ain't enough for me, because when I sleep, that's an investment. When I'm awake, I'm trying to push the envelope every hour that I'm awake. You know what I mean? If that's not coaching somebody, if that's not trying to get more memberships at my gym, if that's not learning on how I could be a better coach, if that's not learning how I could be a better business owner, everything's an investment. When I go to the gym myself to work out, to make sure I get in better shape, when I make a decision to eat better, this is all an investment.
That's a fact.
I'm investing the whole fucking day. And every time I mess up, believe me, I'm going to feel guilty about it, because I know I just pushed another day back that I could have freaking moved it forward. And there ain't nothing more aggravating than that, man. When I've done that before, where I work out the whole freaking day, eat good all day, and then binge like at 12 o'clock at night. And I'm like, I just ruined the fucking
The whole day. Yeah, the
I'm
whole day.
so mad at myself. I'm like, dog, I did good all day. I'm going to ruin it at midnight?
Yeah.
Like, what kind of nonsense is this?
That's like winning the fight, get all the way to the 12th round, clowning, getting caught and getting knocked out.
Yeah, it's like,
Bad
bro, are you
move.
serious, man?
Bad
You know what I
move.
mean? So you don't want to keep doing that because guess what? Time is gonna pass you by.
That's right.
So if you want to get in shape this year is the year that you want to get in top shape. Yo, let's just fucking do it.
Please.
Let's do it. You want to have your first fight? Let's do it. You want to try boxing out for the first time? Yo, let's do it. You want to start that business? Let's do it.
Don't
What
procrastinate.
are we waiting for? Like, well, seriously, what are we waiting for?
Yeah.
They say the best dreams are in the graveyard. You know what I'm saying? That's what they say.
That's crazy.
The best ideas is in the graveyard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the thing, man. A lot of us we are living like we gonna live forever. A lot of you guys are living like you're gonna live forever, man. You know what I mean? There's a lot of shit that I regret that I didn't take advantage of, and that's the only thing you're gonna regret when you get older. All the shit you could have done, all the things you should have done. You're not gonna regret what you've done so much because you'll get over mistakes.
Yeah.
But you're gonna regret damn, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Damn, why was I holding on to them pennies, man?
Yeah.
Like that was nothing in the grand scheme of things. Why didn't I just dedicate 90 days to eating good and training? Why didn't I? Like, what the hell held me back? I think about that shit all the time. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck held me back? Like, what was like, it's that devil and that angel on your shoulder. You got to fight it every single day, man. It ain't easy. I'm not saying it is, guys, because believe me, I'd be in a whole nother level if I was to follow my advice 100%. Trust me, and I've done a lot in my life, and I feel like I haven't done nothing.
Most can't.
You know
Most
what I
can't
mean?
follow their own advice. They know better than to do the things that they're doing. They know better than to make the mistakes that they're making, and they typically do it anyway. It's just because, it's human nature to fall into that. You know what I mean? To want to do the easy thing. Want to eat the food that tastes good. You know what I mean? You don't want to go to. You want to have all of those meals, or how about this? You don't want to go to the gym that day. Yeah, I'll start tomorrow. I'll go next week, man. I hear that from my wife all the time. I'm gonna start. We're gonna do something. We're gonna go to the gym. I want to go to the gym in the development. Come on, no, just join the gym. Just come up to Coach Ann's gym. Just come up there and work out one time.
Listen.
You'll love it.
This is one thing I've learned about life, and we're in a different day and age. You know what I'm saying? And me, I'm old enough that I've seen both, right? A lot of you guys who are in your 20s, early 20s, teenage years, you guys know this social media world, so it's like super second nature to you to like just open your phone and like you have all these different resources and things you can take advantage of to the point where maybe you don't see the value in it anymore because you're just like, it's normal. Right. You know what I'm saying? I've had the opportunity to know what it's like to have to actually seek out this information. Back when I was a little bit younger, and I used to have to call everybody for anything. Like, hey man, do you know how to do this? Or hey man, do you know somebody who knows how to do this? Where now you guys can actually just open up YouTube and put how to, and there'll be a whole freaking video. You want to connect with a guy like me? You can go on Instagram, find my name, shoot me a DM. There's a very high chance that I'm going to see it and I'm going to respond to you unless you're talking about some nonsense, right? Like, we're in a totally different day. So let's just say you're an introverted person and you're a person who doesn't have a lot of friends and you don't really have a big social network. Guess what? Take advantage of this social media era because you can easily say, you know what? I don't have nobody that I can holler at. I don't have no friends that are accountable. But you know what? Eddie and Coach Anthony, you know what I mean? They actually were just saying how they have this private community. You know what I'm saying? Let me shoot Coach Anthony a DM and see what's up with that. Or let me go ahead and go on his website, grab a course, and see what they're talking about in those courses. You have to take that initiative to, not just invest, but take advantage of the resources that you have. They're like, these are some good resources. I think that people really forget what this is. Like, you're listening to two people who are pouring their heart into a camera, giving you guys our life's work, and you guys have access to that shit. Back in the day, you had to be in the fucking room.
You had to be in the gym.
Back in the day, you had to be in the room. You had to be in the gym to know the story.
Yes.
To hear about how so-and-so got knocked out. People over here sharing viral clips of people sparring and all. Like, back in the day, you had to be there.
That's crazy.
Now you guys open your phone and you're like, oh yeah, I saw Tank knocked that guy out in the gym. I saw Devin Haney beating up on that guy in the gym.
Everybody
saw
it. Yeah.
Now you guys, so you guys don't really appreciate what that is. So then what ends up happening is you guys take zero action because you don't see the value. I saw a post today last night that was super dope, where a guy was like, why do we always notice the bad things in life? But the guy said, because there's so much good around you that you don't notice the good things anymore. Yeah. Ain't that crazy?
That is wild.
We only notice the bad stuff in our life, but we don't notice the good stuff like breathing, right? Yeah. Sight, you can see.
You can see everything.
You can hear. You know what I'm trying to say? Like if you're lucky enough to have a family, I know people come from great families who are attractive and they're fucking depressed. Yeah. You're like, first of all, you got a good family. Second of all, you're an attractive person, physically. Yeah. Third of all, you're intelligent. You know and you're like, what can you possibly be depressed about? There's people out there who are, we shit in clean water. That's what I was gonna say. We shit in clean water. Yeah. On this side of the earth, in the United States of America. You know what I mean?
And clean water.
There's
Think about that.
people here who are depressed.
Yeah.
Ain't that it's kind of crazy, mind-boggling.
It is.
Understandable. I am compassionate. However,
how you doing like that?
However, as compassionate as I am, is a little bit of ungratefulness there.
Well, because it's the immediate gratification era. This is everything is right there. You can touch it. You can touch it. You can touch it. You can see it. You can watch it. You can grab it. It's so right there for you. So anything that takes work is weird to people nowadays. So if you have to work for something, it makes you kind of shy away from it. And I think that is what the biggest issue.
And a comparison issue, right? Everybody's comparing themselves to somebody else. Oh, this person looks better than me. How come this person doesn't like me? How come
you can see everybody
doesn't like me? You know what I mean? And everybody's playing mind games with each other. Maybe your friends aren't liking your photos on the internet and you feel like you're not being supported, or you know what I mean? Everybody's playing these stupid mind games with each other, and everybody's doing all this stuff, and it's messing people up. So what you have to start doing now is to build yourself up. This year is the year you build yourself up and you get with the people who feel like those are my people. Right. At this point in my life, I don't care. Not that I don't want new friends or new acquaintances or new contacts. I'm with that if they're the right people. You know what I mean? But you have to know who your people are. And sometimes it's people you don't know personally. You know what I mean? A lot of times we look for comfort in the people that we know. Oh, that's my boy. So if you start a business, you want to hire your boy. Maybe your boy's not the guy for the job. Maybe you might need to hire somebody overseas who can work remotely, because that guy is going to do a better job than your boy that you went to school with. Right. Sometimes that's just what it is. And right now we're in an era where we can do that. So my whole point is take advantage of your resources. We like to be a resource for you guys. This ain't a sales pitch. This is the honest truth. Right? So utilize your resources. You know what I'm saying? Utilize the internet, utilize those things, write down your goals, have a clear vision. Let's go ahead and let's stop bullshitting this year. Let's make it happen. We're going to touch more on this. Can't give you guys all of this in one episode because I know there's going to be people 3 weeks into the first quarter of the year like, man, I haven't even got started on my resolutions. Right. I haven't even maybe in March you guys will be watching this. Like, damn, I would have just started in March when Coach Eddie was motivating me that day. Yeah. See, motivation ain't enough. You need discipline.
Yeah, discipline over motivation. 100%.
Anyway, man, I want to go ahead and keep it there for right now, guys. If there's any way that we can help you, just drop them in the comments below. And obviously, man, you guys can check out the website, CoachAnthonyBoxing.com, if you're in the New Jersey area, or even if you're not and you want to come visit, man, check out CABoxing.com. You can find me on Instagram at Coach Anthony, TikTok, Coach Anthony, Facebook page, Coach Anthony. And, of course, you guys are here on my YouTube channel, Coach Anthony Boxing. This podcast will be shared to all major platforms. So if you're listening to this, shout out to you guys as well. Eddie, you might want to go ahead and drop people how they can find you.
Fast Eddie Chambers on Instagram and on Facebook, Fast Eddie Chambers as well. So, Fast Eddie Chambers on Instagram as well. So, yeah, I mean, I'm on TikTok as well, but it's not as promoted right now. But we're going to get better.
Yeah, there you go. That goes with the discipline part, right? He's motivated to start a TikTok. Now we're going to have to be disciplined to actually do it. You know what I mean? So let that be the takeaway, man. Discipline this year. We're definitely going all in. And
100%. I need to be way more disciplined with social media, and this is definitely the year that I'm going to do it. So yeah, I'm with y'all too.
Yeah, we all got stuff to work on. Listen, we're not perfect. We're human, man. So just know that when I'm expressing a lot of this and Eddie's expressing this, we're talking to ourselves a lot of the times out loud into a lens, knowing that this is going to resonate with somebody else as well. Because, listen, we're all human beings. And at the end of the day, we're interconnected, whether you want to believe that or not. We all experience the same emotions. We all experience the same negative and positive vibrations. So, at the end of the day, man, I think that we all just want to be better. And I think that's just what New Year's brings. I know a lot of people, there's a lot of people out there like, hey, man, I hate New Year's resolution people. But listen, it's just another day to remind yourself the importance of being a better person. So me personally, I love it. You know what I'm saying? I love Thanksgiving for the same reason. You know what I mean? It's like, be thankful. Even though you should be thankful every day. Yeah. And I know that there's some like history stuff with Thanksgiving why people might not like it. However, let's eliminate that and just look at the thankful part.
Look at the positive. Look at the positive.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about, right? So the thankful part, and we're talking about the New Year's, to another reset button that we like to press, you know what I mean? And our mind is all psychological at the end of the day. You could do it on a Thursday in the middle of the summer, but hey, whatever works for you, man. So, all right, so you guys already know. Go ahead and learn some of these boxing techniques. You guys can go to CoachAnthonyBoxing.com. If you guys want to learn more about our gym that's located here in Florence, New Jersey, you can go to caboxing.com, and you can find me on all social media, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, at Coach Anthony. And, of course, my YouTube channel, Coach Anthony Boxing.
And me at Fast Eddie Chambers on Instagram and Facebook, the same, Fast Eddie Chambers, and TikTok's not quite picking up yet, but it will be, and I think it's at Fast Eddie Chambers too, so the same thing. So, yeah, we're gonna get there.
All right, guys.